Are you ready for a roller coaster ride today? That's right. It's going to be one on this YouTube Live Monday edition of Everything Phoenix, guys. Thank you as always for joining us here on our YouTube Live channel. We really appreciate your time. It means a lot. I know everyone is busy, especially around the holidays. So in December, you're taking the time to be educated and informed because news doesn't stop. It never sleeps. And we're going to keep bringing it to you, especially when it comes to the housing market and development in Phoenix. Now, there's some cool stuff we're going to cover today. We're going to get into the housing market. And the reason why I said a roller coaster ride is because that's what it feels like. Home prices slashing, other homes going for multiple offers over asking. What is the deal? Is the market going down? Is it going up? What is the situation nationally, locally? Now, obviously, we're going to focus locally here because this is Everything Phoenix, but there's always a little flare because you can't ignore what is going on with the economy, as the US economy obviously plays a role in what happens in Arizona to an extent. So we're going to jump in and cover a lot of the cool stuff here today. So buckle in. It's going to be a fun one. I'm going to start, as always, sharing my screen. We're going to dive right in to some Cromford Report information. Now, before I get involved with that, by all means, tap that subscribe button if you don't mind and get us out to more people. And if you don't mind commenting where you're watching from, we'd love to know where you're watching from, as we're getting people from all over the country watching this show, as we can see on the back end analytics, which is really cool. So here we go. Cromford market is balanced between 90 and 110. Again, the Cromford market index, the CMI, if it's below 90, you're looking at a buyer's market. If it's above 110, you're looking at a seller's market. So where does everything currently reside? Well, I'm glad you asked because we're going to cover that right now. As you can see with this largest 17 suburbs in the valley, you can see right now there are two that are green. That's it. Now that's two. That's better than last week. Last week was just one, and that was Goodyear. Now Goodyear is in the West Valley, and Chandler is in the East Valley. Chandler was number one and still is number one. And not only is it the highest on the index, but it's also going up even more, which is pretty impressive. So kudos to you, Chandler. There's a reason why. And if you need to check out a video on Chandler and everything good or bad about it, click on our Everything channel Phoenix and go to Chandler, Arizona and watch the whole city vlog. It's a pretty cool place for a lot of reasons. Okay, so you can see right now, everything is going down except for two suburbs in terms of the supply and demand, the index overall. But you can still see that multiple, about the top 9 or so cities are still in a quote seller's market. So that's interesting, right? Why is that? Well, because they started so high, and obviously you have still more demand than the supply that's there, even though both are kind of shrinking heading into the Christmas season here towards the end of 2023. But Goodyear is still remaining resilient for some reason, and no one really knows why. But Goodyear, kudos to you. 2 thumbs up, man. Keep up the good work. 13% increase week over week from last time. Wow. And it's no longer in a buyer's market. Okay, so, and that's what the commentary down here pretty much all says. That basically what we just talked about, okay? So in summary, we are seeing gradual improvement on the demand trend, and supply is no longer increasing in most areas. That could be good or bad. Now, you're going to see something different as you go to this chart right here. You're going to see, look at the purple and the green from 2 years ago. You're going to see from January to February, the listings that go under contract. Well, you can't have that many more go under contract if you don't have that many more listings, meaning you're going to see a spike in supply in January, period, the end. In 2022, rates were not that high. The market was crazy. But 2023, they were very high. You're looking around 7%, which is very similar to where they are today. And still, look what happened at that interest rate. You got a lot of pent-up demand, a lot of seasonal demand and supply that just skyrocketed over 30% between January and February of 2023. So given the interest rate environment, the same, given the fact that we know pent-up demand is there, given the fact that we know Phoenix is still a destination city, we should expect this in 2024 in January and February. So you're going to see a spike in supply. That's more options for buyers. You're going to see seasonal buyers come down with cash especially, and they're going to start buying some homes. It happens every year, guys. It is cyclical. It repeats itself. So this should be the trend for 2024. That's what you should expect. Now, going back over here, this is interesting too. We're going to pivot a little bit and cover this for a second. The annual average home size Well, this is interesting. Why are we covering this? Well, we're covering this because you're seeing how the home builders or what the home builders are doing with new product they're bringing to market. And you can see right here that in 2015, the average size of a single family home in the Phoenix area actually peaked, right? So let's read what they have to say about this. This is the new home sales for single family only and shows the annual average size of a home peaked in March 2015 and has been dropping almost every month since then. In October 23, the average annual home was 2,216 square feet, which is down 367 square feet from its peak. That's about 14%, right? So the home builders are building smaller homes. Now, the same does not apply on new townhouses and condo properties, which typically average around 1,700 square feet, but they have been on a gentle trend upward since. So townhouses, condos getting a little bigger, single family homes getting a little smaller, trying to create a product that is the most affordable for buyers out there, especially given interest rates, guys, because we all know that primarily price per square foot drives the value of the home. And so if you make a smaller product, then hopefully more people will be able to afford it, but you're not going to make it so small to where you lose profitability as a builder. So that's the interesting dynamic. Okay. Now let's jump over here because this is interesting. I'm going to go right to this article and we'll come back to that graph. Okay. Here's the main part of our video today, our YouTube Live. Sellers are cutting home prices at a record level. Here's what's driving the trend. This is very interesting, right? Because you can see the subtitle here: with aggressive pricing and high interest rates keeping many buyers sidelined, a record number of home listings across the country, of course, right, have had price drops in recent weeks. Now, understand this article was just written on December 7th. However, a lot of this data used in here is going back towards early November and October primarily, where it was a little bit different, right? A little bit different. But here's what they have to say about this, which is interesting. High interest rates, we all know about that. They're prompting sellers to have to reduce the price of their home. Okay. Nationally, the weekly average for price drops was nearly 7% for the 4 weeks ending October 29th. That's the highest point on record, according to Redfin. Interest rates aren't the only factor in the drops, but they are compounding the affordability equation at a time when many sellers are pricing their home aggressively. Here we go. Some sellers are pricing too high because they have FOMO, fear of missing out, right? After their neighbor's house sold well over asking price 2 years ago, said an agent in Seattle. While low inventory is driving some competition, the relatively affordable homes in popular neighborhoods are still selling fast. Thus, you have the dichotomy of homes in the subdivisions that are more popular and smaller, maybe with less supply, or luxury homes that are still selling fast with multiple offers. They're getting 2 or 3 offers as opposed to 20 at the height of the market. With interest rates hovering between 7.5 and 8%, buyers also simply don't have the budget they once did. With even a higher percentage of sellers cutting the prices, medium home sales prices remain up, not down, up 3% compared to a year ago. Up 3%, even with home sellers slashing prices because they were so high, even coming down, you're still have a median home sale price that is going up. It's increasing, okay, in a market where you have 7 to 8% interest rates. This is interesting. It's a dynamic that's shaping the industry in multiple ways. I would say so. Home builders are pulling out all the stops to get deals across the finish line, okay? Primarily the mortgage rate buy downs. We talked about this extensively on the show. If you don't know what it is, comment, hit me up on social media, DM me. I will go into a soapbox rabbit hole with you on that, okay? Because it can be great in many ways, okay, for affordability especially, okay? Because again, most homeowners are basing affordability on what? Not the price, the monthly payment, okay? Still, as Ashley Fahey of the National Observer with the National Association of Home Builders said, higher interest rates are affecting builders' ability to move forward with their projects, as the number of single-family homes under construction in September was 674,000, about a 15% decline from a year ago, guys. And this is what's compounding the problem, because you just saw right here that they're 15% below the home builders' new homes deliverability aspect or ratio than they were a year ago. Well, we need supply. We are low on supply. So having this compounded with the fact that we have high interest rates, etc., it's all working against the aspect of keeping property prices from crashing. Okay, which I guess is a good thing in a way, but for some it'd be phenomenal to have a crash because they would then rebuy back in or just buy back in for the first time as a new home buyer because they could afford it, right? So that's interesting. Now let's go back to this article here. The affordability crisis is also sparking demand in the build to rent sector, guys. Build to rent is huge, especially in the Sun Belt states and Sun Belt cities, particularly among young buyers who have been priced out of the market. They're going to buy, they're going to get something new or newer, but it's for rent. So you're still throwing money down the hole, paying 100% interest on your payment, not just 7 or 8% interest when you're renting. Okay. So according to the MBA, applications are on average are down 22% with new mortgages. Okay. Mortgage rates are higher than they've been in roughly the past 30 years. I would hate to think we were going to go as high as they got in the early 80s. I don't think so, my opinion. And I don't envy millennials trying to buy homes at this point. Okay, so then you have some other extra stats which are interesting, right? You have Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Denver had the highest percentage of listed homes with a price drop in October. All right. Then you have actually some cities like Newark, New Jersey, of all places, San Jose, California, and Columbus, Ohio, that actually had double-digit increases during the same time in their median home sale price. Go figure. All right, but that's the data. Now, this is why it's a roller coaster ride. Now we're going to jump over here to this, which is even interesting enough in its own right. Here's the best day. Are you ready? A lot of data was crunched. The best day to get a home to get a deal on a home in a turbulent housing market. Here's the best day of the year, and it's coming up. Spoiler alert. Okay. The best day to get a deal on a home in this chaotic housing market is coming up, according to research from real estate data firm, Adam Data Solutions. Adam analyzed 47 million single-family home and condo sales over the past 10 years and found buyers typically get the best deal on when? January 9th. In this case, best deal means the lowest premium over what Adam calls the automated valuation model, the AVM, right, of what they say a house is worth, an online algorithm, if you will, or what the firm estimates the value of the house to be compared to what it sold for. On January 9th, the median sale price of the home is about $190,000 with a premium of only 3.8%. Okay, here's the chart. Overall, the best time to buy a home and paying the smallest premium is in the fall with days in October, November and December topping the list. Okay, no, October, November, December, and January. You heard those 4 months just named. Best time to buy a house. Maybe you won't hit up the exact day that you need to based upon all the data analytics, 47 million homes. But man, if you're in the ballpark, which apparently October through January is the ballpark, this is the time we're in, guys. So again, if you can afford a home, if you can, even though you don't want to pay the higher interest rate, but you can afford it, whatever it may be, what they're saying is over the next 12 months, this might be the best time to do it in terms of getting the best deal. And then you take the fact that rates probably are going to come down next year and earlier than most people think. And when that does, buyers jump off the fence. And, Warren Buffett has this quote that says, be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. So when everyone zigs, you should zag, right? And vice versa. So I'm just saying right now, there's a lot of data that tells you that while a lot of people are waiting, maybe you should not be. Again, if it's right for your personal situation. Just food for thought, okay? Going back to this article, you can see right here, the worst day to buy a home where you're going to not get the best deal is May 28th, a 14.4% premium above that AVM. Okay, why? It's because of supply and demand. Everybody does it at the same time. If you don't follow the herd, you're going to get a better deal, period. The end, right? But look at the best days to buy a home according to this research from Adam, which is from 2013 to 2022. A lot of research, guys. January 9th is the best day of the year. December 4th, it just passed, right? Just missed that one, right? I guess December 4th, the next best. October 9th, October 2nd, October 10th, September 7th, December 26th, guys. That makes a lot of sense to me. It's coming up. December 26th, January 9th. My phone's going to be ringing. I know it. Text me, call me. We'd love to help you out. 480-660-5974. Okay, then you have November 13th, December 24th, Christmas Eve, right? Go figure. I mean, hey, if it's a weekday, there's a lot of places still open. Okay, October 16th. That's intriguing to me. Very interesting. I think this is cool to have all this data over the course of almost 10 years and 47 million transactions to crunch to figure this out. Really, really cool. Home prices skyrocketed from a medium sell price of 322.6 in the second quarter of 2020, COVID, right, to 479,500 at the end of 2022. That price slipped to 416.1 by the end of the second quarter, according to the Federal Reserve data, but grew again to 431 in the third quarter of 2023. Okay, over the past 18 months, the Fed, in a bid to reduce inflation and cool a hot labor market, has raised interest rates several times. We all know about that, blah, blah, blah. They hit 8% a little while ago. Matter of fact, here are the rates. Okay, right here was the highest day, according to this Mortgage News Daily. 8.03% on the 30-year fix for A paper clients. That means, the person who has really good credit, but not A paper necessarily, didn't get 8.03. You're looking at 8 and probably 3/8, 8.5 at this point in time in October 19th. October 19th. Okay, now we are subsequently down, which is cool, to 7.10 as of today. 7.10. So that is a big deal. It's a whole percentage point almost, guys. That's a lot of money based on your payment, especially if you have a large loan amount. Okay. Now, going back to here, let's finish this up really quick. All right. We have a couple more things here I want to cover here. All right. Builders are back on their feet, up 5% for newly constructed homes. Okay. And we need to build, is what they're saying here. America's hottest housing markets. We won't go through all that, but there are a lot of them. And they're probably not all necessarily ones that you think are the hottest markets. We're not going to cover that right now. We got things to cover. Let me jump over here to CNBC. Okay. Speaking of rates, the Federal Reserve could achieve a soft landing after all. Here's what that would mean for you. Okay. That's interesting. Let's check this out. Because, guys, you understand, right? An article came out by ING, when their chief economist from ING, the investment firm, right, that said last week that the Federal Reserve is going to cut rates 4 times next year and possibly up to 6. This guy does not work for the Federal Reserve. So what he wrote as what he felt or is going to happen based upon all his sources, which could be very reliable, I don't know, now went viral. And now it got to be commonplace news that, the Fed already announced they're gonna drop rates 4 times to 6 times in 2024. No, they did not say that. The Federal Reserve did not say that. Let me be very clear. They did not say that. What they did say is that they're probably not going to raise rates in December when they meet here in just a day or two, I believe it is. So, which the markets already have priced in anyways. So that's all that they have said in terms of what they will or will not do regarding interest rates of the federal funds rate, right? So that being said, now we get to this article. Now let me go back to share my screen and we can talk about what this article says because it's interesting. Federal Reserve could achieve this soft landing. That soft landing means that it just kind of comes down. The economy doesn't go completely broken or into a recession, and rates come down, inflation comes down, everything kind of resets, and we're ready to rock and roll. That would be cool. Okay. The likelihood of a soft landing is extremely high, says Rockland's David Smith. Now, this is just someone's opinion. I don't know. To me, Federal Reserve, yeah, they don't get this right most of the time, whether it's a soft landing or whatever they're trying to do. And typically they overshoot it or undershoot it, and that's what I would anticipate is going to happen personally. But I'm not maybe as smart or have as much data as these guys do with their firms. So who knows what will happen? But the point is that they've seen recent signs the economy is in fairly good shape as inflation continues to drift lower. Now, the inflation is drifting lower, but that is typically the inflation index, CPI, not including housing. If you throw in housing, rents, it's going up, which is not good. So it's all how you slice or want to look at that information. Okay. But he says a soft landing appears to be the greatest likelihood for next year. However, the economy isn't out of the woods just yet, and a mild and short recession can't totally be ruled out. Okay. Even though inflation is still not to the central bank's 2% target, that's what they want to be, right? Markets have already been pricing in likely that the Fed is done raising rates, at least in this cycle, and now looking towards potential rate cuts in 2024. That would be awesome. Let's hope that happens, okay? And yet, this is important. I know this is really important, guys. And yet, continued slowing in inflation does not mean price decreases. It means price leveling. So you know how that gallon of milk or maybe that loaf of bread is not getting any cheaper? Because it's not. When you go to the grocery store, this is what it is. So hopefully it's coming down. So it will level off. It will stop going up for a while. Then hopefully start to come down. Okay. And then here we go. The central bank can continue to make progress towards its 2% target without bringing the economy to a more abrupt slowdown. There's a possibility of achieving that scenario of that soft landing, right? So we'll see what it says. But here are the naysayers, right? They won't cut for cutting's sake, and more likely the policy easing wouldn't be in response to sharply slowing economy and rising unemployment. The aggressive rate cutting cycle would be a sign of deep worry. We are heading towards a hard landing, which they're not doing anymore. Okay. And economists still haven't ruled out a recession in the second half of 2024. The job market already is showing signs of slowing, with the unemployment rate declined to 3.7%, but the job openings also fell to 8.73 million in October, the lowest level since March of 2021. Interesting stuff. All right, now let's jump back over here, okay? Because multifamily developer nears completion of 4,000 missing middle housing units in Arizona. Guys, this is interesting too because we're talking about affordability and the lack of supply for affordable housing. Well, Greenlight Communities is doing something about that, at least the best they can. They are injecting thousands of new housing starts for affordability for people who can't buy a house, obviously, right? And they are doing a lot of affordable housing with rent. So it's build to rent. Okay, we just talked about that. It's big in Arizona here. Depending on the number of the rooms, Cabana monthly rent can range from 1,300 to 1,700, while their Streamliner product, okay, will range from 1,000, 1,100 to 1,500. So now you have rents between 1,100 and 1,700, which is good for people looking to buy or have affordable housing, even though they don't own it. Especially in areas that aren't like overly dangerous, put it that way, right? These are areas that are for the most part relatively safe, right? Okay, and then they're looking at opening up the same kind of thing in Peoria and Surprise for the newer projects. So this is good. Okay, Phoenix tops the nation in delivered apartment units. This is interesting, right? Phoenix is number one. Okay, delivering over 20,000 new units built in Metro Phoenix out of the total of 487,000 units delivered nationwide in 2023. So this is good from a standpoint of affordable housing. This is bad from the standpoint of a lot of people don't want more and more apartments and condos because of the congestion at the local grocery store, the congestion on the interstate system, the congestion at the roads and everywhere else. So a lot of people are not in favor of this, but yet people are going to move to Phoenix regardless. And there has to be some place to offer housing. So there's a big opportunity for multifamily developers, apartment complexes, etc. It's just the good with the bad, I guess, right? That's what it is. All right, let me share my screen. Go back here. So you have Phoenix Metro Family Market tilts in favor of renters. Data shows this is interesting, okay, because it says along those same lines, data shows more than 3,300 new Valley apartment units came online in Q3 alone, and the construction for this kind of stuff is booming. It's crazy. Again, number one in the entire country. But what are rent rates doing? Rent rates have declined 4.7% year over year, according to a recent study by Apartment List. Okay, rent prices dropped 1% in October, more than the national average of 0.7%. The drop brought the Valley's median rent down to, here it is, 1,422, roughly 5.1% higher than the national average. Phoenix is the number 52 most expensive large city in the country, wedged between Jacksonville, Florida, and Norfolk, Virginia, according to ApartmentList.com. Okay, the decrease in Phoenix rent prices follows a period of rapid price growth in the metro and across the nation. For example, citywide rents have risen a total of 25.6% since the start of the pandemic. And I believe we are, oh, here we go. Years of rapid population growth, multifamily construction. Okay. So again, it's this chicken and the egg situation with the population coming and trying to have affordable housing for all the population that is coming to Phoenix, because they're coming here because a lot of jobs are coming here. A lot of companies are relocating portions of their company, divisions, etc., to the Phoenix area. All right, and you can see right here, Phoenix population exploding 2000 to 2022. And it goes through all these different cities. I mean, it's just crazy how much it's up 24, 19, and so on and so forth. So we won't go through all those numbers, but it's going up, needless to say. Here's how many Phoenix area home buyers are paying above asking price. Wait, Kelly, I just thought you just said that home sellers are slashing their prices. Well, yeah, they are in certain cases, but there are certain areas. That's why real estate is such a micro niche industry. That's why listening to somebody who's talking on, national news station is not going to be beneficial for you. It's just not. You need to get with a agent or someone who knows a specific area, a town, a zip code, or even a subdivision, a community, and work with them because they know what's going on. Okay, so here we go. There are a certain part of Phoenix homebuyers that are paying over asking price. In fact, it's right here. 19.22% of all homes in Phoenix Metro are still selling above the listing price. Go figure that one. That's according to the new analysis of data from Redfin, which found 32% of homes nationally sold above listing price in October. It's pretty crazy. Lori, what's going on? We definitely don't want to have traffic as bad as California with all of these new apartments. I totally agree. To my things I cannot stand the most, that's why I could not live in California, are taxes and traffic. So hopefully those two T's stay low in Arizona and Phoenix here. Let's hope so, guys. We can only hope for the best here in that situation. But there's a lot of land. There's a lot of land. So we just need home builders to just go out and continue to build because there is so much land that can happen to here in the Phoenix area. Okay. This is crazy, guys. 19.2% of all homes sold for over asking price, yet there are a huge contingent of home sellers having to decrease their home. Matter of fact, here's a chart right here of price changes for the week, this past week. This is current as of today. Here we go. Look at this graph on the Cromford report. You can see that from basically July all the way through the top is right here, October 22nd. Look at it was a consistent graph, or I should say method of reducing the prices. If you're a home seller, they kept slashing prices. Now, what's interesting is that it's been kind of a yo-yo since then, down, up, down, to where right now there are about 1,500 home sellers that have reduced their prices in the past week. Okay, across all price ranges. Now, what's interesting is you take the price range off on this graph right here, and you go to, if I can get it here, come on, here we go. If I can go to, this is the one price range where they're still going up. Believe it or not, $200,000 to $300,000. Look at this. It's increasing. Whereas the rest of the market, even the ultra luxury market, is going down on the price drops. So if you are an investor, you can probably make rent roll. And if you're putting down some, 20, 25% on your investment, right now, if you buy a home between $200,000 and $300,000, because they do exist, you might be able to make that work in cash flow, which would be great to hold for a while until prices and everything else kind of stabilizes, rates come down. So just a food for thought. That's the one segment where sellers are still consistently reducing their prices. Very interesting. If you go at the all, it is going down. And so if you don't believe me, let me just go down to the ultra luxury price point of 2 to 2 million on up, and they're coming down as well. Okay, there you see it. So it's interesting when you talk about these articles that the Business Journal are suggesting or talking further about. Now, before we wrap it up here, so we're going to hit a couple more of this stuff here. An average in the Valley, homes sold for an average of 98.48% of the listing price through October. Okay, the Valley's median sales price of 450 is the same as it was in October 22, but it was up 2.27% from September. Okay, going up a little bit. All right, and then you have the zip code here of affordability in the Phoenix area. You could probably imagine that you have the one East Valley city of Gilbert coming in at number, I believe, 25 or 15, excuse me, and then all the other ones were on the West Valley except for two Gilbert ones. Okay, so that's the affordability picture. Now, the top 10 markets for home selling above list price, above list price across the country. If you're curious, here we go: Rochester, New York; Hartford, Connecticut; Buffalo, New York; Newark. And then you got some California, Massachusetts, Connecticut. So a lot of East Coast, New England, really. And then you have a little bit of the Bay Area. So that's interesting. So the Bay Area continues to go up. I mean, I don't know how anyone affords a home, but obviously you have some really high-paying jobs out there with companies like Google and Apple, et cetera, in that area of the country. So very interesting. A few more things, guys. Why this East Valley city saw a 1,000 plus increase in home building permits. This is one area they're starting to build. Kudos to D.R. Horton, right? And some of these builders that are doing this. Where is that place in Phoenix? It is Apache Junction. They recorded 776 building permits between January and October, up from 67, just 67, during the same period in 2022. Where is Apache Junction? I'm glad you asked. There it is. If I zoom in, it's on the far East Valley next to Mesa, okay? And then you have Queen Creek to the south of it. But Apache Junction, which has a lot of mountain views, the Superstition Mountains are right here, guys. That is maybe the next up-and-coming place for affordable new housing, okay? Just keep it on your radar. All right. Several Valley cities are among the most popular destinations for migrating baby boomers. Where is that? If you're a baby boomer, Where might that be? Now we know about Sun City, we know about Sun Lakes. Those are the two probably most notable 55 plus up communities or cities. But now you have two other ones that are starting to hit that stride as well. And that's Surprise and Mesa. One in the Northeast Valley. Here's East Valley, Mesa right here. And then Surprise is up here in the Northeast Valley next to Sun City. Weird, right? Strange, very strange. All right. Couple more things, guys, and we're done. Queen Creek unanimously approves Google Fiber. Guys, Google Fiber for internet is coming to the Valley. You already have it in two other cities. They are Mesa and Chandler right here, providing high-speed fiber through Google to those areas of town. And now you have Queen Creek coming next. So the East Valley is getting it, which is good. I believe it's going to be pretty affordable. They're saying about $70 a month. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. I read it. $70 a month for its 1 gigabyte internet service. $70 a month. That's pretty cool, guys. All right, couple more things. TSMC, they struck a deal with the labor force. So let me look how big that is, guys. TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. It is enormous, and it's going to provide so many jobs, which is great for Phoenix. And then you have a semiconductor equipment supplier to build its headquarters facility in Scottsdale. Scottsdale is getting more high-paying jobs, guys, and it's in the area off the 101 and the Scottsdale Road area. So you're looking at right here in Scottsdale. Let me zoom in on this map here. You're looking at right in this area right here by the TPC Scottsdale, Waste Management Open, and where everything else goes down, Scottsdale Quarter. They are now getting another big company coming for headquarters. And this is ASM International plans to invest $300 million into its new headquarters and research and development facility in Scottsdale that will create, wait for it, 500 new jobs. And a lot of those will be obviously higher paying jobs, which is awesome. Right there. There's a rendering of the building. Pretty cool. All right. I want to end on that good note because that's great news for the Phoenix area. Again, Scottsdale area, Phoenix area, it's all good. But Phoenix is continuing to boom because of the amount of the local economy is set up so well from a corporate tax standpoint and from employees, because remember, the state income tax is capped at a flat 2.5%, the lowest out of any other state in the nation that actually charges a state income tax. So pretty cool. Good job, Arizona. We're crushing it, and Phoenix continues to defy the odds. People are going to come. It's going to grow. A great place to invest. All right, guys, that will do it for this Monday edition, of YouTube Live. Join us next Monday, 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thanks, guys. Until next time, Phoenix, keep it classy.